ya. Hide your son and daughter, cause Rake's gonna get ya. Hide your son and daughter, cause Rake's gonna get ya.
He's a goddamn maniac.
Yeah. All right, man. Before we get into the intro, the fucking sounds of Black Roots or some shit like that.
Oh. What?
Hey, fucking yo.
Y'all say that every time?
You don't say that every time.
I said it last time. Was that when they was in the church?
Thanks.
Rap, Uno.
My name Rakes, nigga. You know I commit rapes, nigga.
Yeah, cut
What?
that off, bro. What the hell?
What?
Hell no.
See what you did, Slim? See
This is
what
why we can't play Black Roots beats, man. We can't.
Bro, it's not me.
You do what, Luno? Clarify. What do you
Not
do?
Luno.
Nah, it was Rakes. It was Rakes who did it.
Yeah, that was big rakes down there.
Rakes do rakes. Rakes with a K. Okay.
Nah, Rakes
Got
do. Anyway.
With a, yeah, rakes with a
On
K.
GD.
Yeah, continue.
Big breaks.
Oh, my goodness. What's good, man? We are back with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast. This is episode 27. And today we come to bring to you Lawless. Before we get into that, everybody go ahead and introduce yourself. My name is Showtime Slim. Who else we got in the building, man?
Bob Celeste, I'm the best. Don't trust a nigga who wear perfume. Let's get it.
KT Lawless, aka Big Forest Bondurant in this bitch.
Art, man.
That's hilarious.
Get off mute. Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
All right, again.
It's Lord Pujols. It ain't safe.
I bet it ain't.
Unless you say rapes.
I don't know what he's talking about. What did he even say? All right, man. Today's movie was brought to you by-
Damn.
Hey,
What?
hey.
Oh,
That nigga played your song and didn't even like acknowledge it.
That's crazy.
I know
Man,
we won't play another one.
it's-
We won't play another one.
It's
bro.
Black Bondurant in this bitch. Fuck you talking about? Black Roots in this hoe.
All right, man. Today's episode was brought to you by the black nigga that just said something. So I'm gonna let him go ahead and keep talking like he was just talking. Go ahead, Roots.
Yeah. So I'll admit Shia LaBeouf is probably in my top 10 favorite white actors. He's probably number 6.
Yeah.
Shout out to that man. Shout out to Pujols because Shia LaBeouf is currently fucking his bitch.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
That's a fact. He married to Mia Goff,
Bro,
bro.
they got divorced like years ago.
Bullshit. They still married.
They're not.
I think you're in denial, brother. But yeah, man, Lawless, bro, came out in 2012. You know, big Shia LaBeouf, big Tom Hardy, right?
Yep.
Make sure I ain't saying that nigga name wrong and shit. Goddamn Guy Pearce, he played Charlie Rakes, Big Rakes.
Let's
You know what I'm
go.
saying? Yeah, man. It was. I wouldn't say
Jason Clarke.
star-studded.
Jason
Facts.
Clarke
Jason
played,
Clarke. I don't really know Jason Clarke
Howard.
like that. Remind me, what's some other shit that Jason Clarke can?
All right, you can keep going.
You
Yeah,
got
that's
it pulled
crazy.
up, don't you?
I ain't
Yeah,
feel
I
like
thought
going
you
off
was
the
the
screen. That's a
character
fact.
guy.
Jessica Chastain. Is that how you say her last name?
Okay, well, who is she? Character guy.
That's Maggie.
Yeah, but what else was she in?
Beerfort.
What else she was?
Shit.
What else she was in?
I got you. Give me 1 second.
This nigga don't know.
Jessica Chastain was in the It remake.
Oh, that was her?
She was in the she was in the
Who
It
the
remake.
fuck she was?
The lead character?
She was the
The lead
grown
character
bitch?
was a kid. Who else?
No, it was the second one, the grown bitch.
I'm tripping.
Oh,
I'm
the
thinking-
second one. You talking about whenever
Yeah,
they
was
came
grown
back to
and
town.
shit.
I'm thinking that nigga was talking about Pause, the Thing remake. My bad.
No, he
Whoa.
said it.
Come on.
Nigga, the Thing, the best movie you niggas will ever see. Pause.
Nah,
It's not, but it's a really good movie.
and I've seen it, and it's not the best thing.
Suggest-
It's not the
Yes,
best, but it's really fire. It's
Who I
fire.
recommend Owen Wilson movies. Fuck out of here.
He recommended this
crazy.
movie. Fool.
Nah, this movie is dope.
Hey, yo.
Hey, I have
I'm noticing
I have
that.
I have no idea how to pronounce this, so I'm about to slaughter this name.
Who?
Bertha Minks. She's played by Mia Wasikowska.
Oh.
Yeah, whoever she is. Shout out to her.
Yeah, that's
Also,
crazy.
Gary Oldman. We can't forget Gary Oldman was in this shit too.
Facts.
Gary Oldman
Big
was
Floyd Banner.
what's his name?
Floyd Banner.
Right, Floyd Banner. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nigga came out this bitch with a Tommy gun and lit shit up.
That nigga was wild.
Airing that bitch.
Dane DeHaan, he a cool ass nigga. I know he was in not The Covenant. What's the other one with Michael B. Jordan?
Chronicle.
Boom. He was in Chronicle.
Who did he play? I saw.
He was getting beat up.
Nigga who was getting abused,
getting bullied and shit, and then nigga turned evil and shit.
Yeah, but who did he play
Kevin?
in this movie?
Oh, in this movie he was Cricket, Big Cricket.
Kevin never got abused.
C. Ricky,
yeah.
Big Cricket.
He
Cricket.
did the abuse.
Oh, that was Cricket. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was Cricket.
I believe.
Cricket Pate.
I believe Chronicle and also this movie was like around the same time. Same with
You right.
Batman. I think the Batman movie with Bane. Tom Hardy played Bane. That was like 2013 or something, right? 2012. I thought 2012 was the Dark Knight, like the one with Joker.
you might be right.
Damn,
It's no way them hoes came out 1 year after each other. No way.
Yeah,
No,
Either
yeah, that night was 08 because Batman Begins was like 06.
Yeah, facts.
Whoa, what? No
Yeah,
way.
no, facts.
Yes,
honestly,
it was. No,
I think I'm gonna trust whatever
They
Art
had the
say.
game out on the game.
Yeah, this nigga Art do know a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Niggas should probably be on.
Damn, that's crazy. So when did the one come out with Bane? Let me ask Art. He the expert.
With Bane.
14? 13, 14, somewhere around there, I think.
Let's ask Art. We gotta have a segment called Ask Art. Hey, Art.
Which one is that one called? Is it Batman Rises or something?
I think so.
Hey, yo.
The Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight Rises. When did that come out, Art?
Oh
that
shit!
was probably. I honestly don't
That's
know because I
2012.
actually
I'm looking at
like
it.
barely.
2012.
Yeah,
Okay.
I figured it was around that time. I ain't know for sure.
That's
So
when
in
that
that
nigga
case-
shot up that
Yeah.
theater, right? That's that hoe.
Yeah, that was the same
That's
shit, yeah.
2012.
Okay, so in that case, that movie and this movie came out
Yeah.
the same year. Tom Hardy played in both, and
Yeah.
I actually saw that Tom Hardy's character was originally supposed to be like skinnier, but he had to like kind of bulk up to play Bane. So
For the Bane shit, facts.
Well,
Yeah,
because
so-
like at the end of the movie, they showed pictures of the real people and shit.
yeah, that was definitely. Some,
Yeah, I was just about to say
It
that.
was lanky as a motherfucker.
Which I didn't even notice was based off a true story until that picture came up. That's crazy.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Yo, Gary Oldman played the commissioner.
Yes.
in
Coleman?
the third
That's
Batman.
crazy.
Gary Oldman.
Gary
Oh yeah,
Cole.
yeah, right.
Coleman.
All right, Root. So give us an overview, man, a summary of this movie. Like,
Yeah,
Just a little short
so
summary.
this is during the Prohibition. Motherfuckers couldn't drink alcohol. I feel like that's lame as hell.
You would say.
Yeah, it's about the Bottom Rock Boys, man. These niggas, they're legendary. They can't be killed. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't be touched. You know, niggas don't really fuck with them like that because they scared of them niggas. They run around, bootlegging and whatnot, making their bread. Motherfucking bitch ass Charlie Race come down with the goddamn what was the title of the other nigga?
Mason
Something
Wardell.
Mason Wardell. What was he though?
he was like some kind of he wasn't the sheriff, like some kind of attorney
governor?
general
District
or some
attorney
shit.
or something like that.
He like attorney general or district some shit.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that mean back then, but
Yeah.
apparently he was an important motherfucker and he was trying to get shit right. Now we was talking about this earlier, but
He wasn't trying to get
Yeah.
shit right. That's the
he
thing.
wasn't trying to get
He
shit
was.
right.
All these
He had
motherfuckers was
he
crooked.
had the position to get shit right, but that nigga was trying to, like when somebody said in the movie, grease the tracks. You know what I'm saying? Nigga trying to make some little bread on the side while he so-called enforcing the law.
That's all this is about. That's what this entire plot is about. Like these niggas bootlegging, ain't supposed to be no fucking alcohol in the Prohibition era, so they bootlegging, and the higher officials, they not actually trying to enforce the law. They
Right.
they like, okay, if you're gonna do this illegal shit, then you got to give us a cut. That's basically what the whole plot is about. The niggas want a cut, so them niggas are crooked, and the other niggas, somebody said, they bootleg.
They lawless.
Lawless. Fire. That connection is crazy.
Yeah, man. Bondurant boys, a bunch of outlaws. They don't give no fucks.
So let's talk about it, man. What y'all think about the characters first?
I think this might be my favorite Shia LaBeouf role. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think this might be my favorite one. Tom Hardy. This role for him is my second favorite to Bane because I feel like that nigga went crazy as Bane.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was definitely fire. Jessica Chastain.
Maggie. I'm gonna play Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie. Yeah, I'm gonna keep fucking her name up.
Let's call her Maggie.
I can't think of that much stuff that I've seen her in, but I did enjoy her being this part. I think I may have realized how fine she is. I'm not gonna lie. Like she not bad looking at all. Goddamn, my goddamn screen buffering and shit. Hold up. The Cricket, the one who played Cricket. The only other thing that I can think of that I seen him in was, like I said, the Chronicle shit. So in comparison, I would say, yeah, I think he did real well in this movie too. Yeah. I don't think I've seen anybody that had bad acting. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, the one that played the one that you just said what's her name? Jessica
Chastain.
Yeah, her. She was also in Interstellar as well.
I ain't never seen that.
You know, it's like Interstellar is crazy. It's Matthew McConaughey, but she was fire in that. What about everybody else? Quiet motherfuckers. What y'all think about the characters?
Yeah. So I thought in this movie that they were trying to capture like what the spirit of that era was, and they used the characters to do it as well. There's a lot of like machismo and shit, and like the male cast and shit that we got here. They're very much like, you know, supposed to be at least like hard as nail, tough guy, whatever else.
Manly men,
simply, yo. And I felt like even though they were like stoic and shit, they all had like some type of depth to them. But it was like through the story unfolding where you like kind of see what these people are actually made of. At the beginning, you get them fancy, kind of just like generic, like, all right, these are a bunch of, you know, motherfucking niggas selling shit. But eventually, like, you start realizing like kind of how their mindset is and like kind of the way they act, and they fleshed it out in a way that I don't think was forced. And I thought, you know, the actors met the challenge and shit. I don't think there was any wasted energy.
Mm-hmm. I think that so for me, I think the characters were fired, the actors were fired, because I think they did a good job like selling the character that they were trying to portray. Like for instance, like how you just said about Forrest. Forrest was basically the leader of the pack. Right. He was the head brother. Although he wasn't the oldest, he was like the middle brother. But he was like the head of the pack. He was like the tough, no nonsense, like he don't take no shit from nobody type of character. And I think he played that role. He played that role like well as far.
He don't take no shit.
Well,
no, he don't.
I think cut his brother's fucking throat, nigga. What do you do about it?
No,
you're talking about Forrest, bro.
You're talking about the nigga that got his throat. Who? No, Tom Hardy got it. Tom Hardy got
what's the nigga with the H name?
Howard.
Yeah, I thought you was talking about that nigga. My bad.
Yeah, he.
Okay, so that's a different situation, Pools. We ain't there yet.
That being said, though, Pools, on the topic of Forrest, Slim, my bad, because you had made the remark. I think that Forrest was a character that was effective by omission, and I compare him to Pyro in Death in the Now, because Pyro was actually a powerful character on scene to have when he wasn't saying anything, and when he did speak, it would be like a little piece of something. And it would leave you with like a little clue as to what his mental is. And I thought that's kind of how they tried to do Forrest as well. And they have this polar opposite in Jack, where he wears virtually everything on his sleeve. So I think it's cool how they did that.
And even though Jack was Jack was like supposed to be like this weak, kind of vulnerable character that
he was like,
he had his big brothers. Yeah, his big brothers were, really the guys. But it's like, I think Shia LaBeouf, he showed that well. Like he played that role exactly the way that role should be played. I feel like you actually believe that this nigga is like a helpless, like he's just a little brother.
It's a couple things working for him in this role. His facial
he always plays that role. Like, that's just kind of like a typecast for a long time for him. Like,
that's what I'm
he was always the awkward. God
I
for a
was
nigga.
wondering.
It's because that's because of what he looked like, right? That's what he looks like. Ain't it?
Yeah, that, like I was saying,
Naturally.
there's
I
a
mean,
couple
that's really
movies
crazy.
his
He's
where-
like fucking Even Stevens.
You said who?
Even Stevens.
Even Stevens? Oh yeah, facts.
Yeah, he got like a young ass face, kind of like how Michael B. Jordan has like a sort of younger face and shit when they're clean shaven. Like he kind of looked like that, so he played like the young boy kind of role pretty well. I just think that I'm not sure where this is in his like acting career and shit like that.
This is like a couple years
um,
after Transformers.
a couple years after.
Yeah, facts.
So for me, this one here, I felt like maybe he wasn't the most seasoned dude up there doing that shit. I don't know if it's because of how they wrote his character, but I thought that there was a certain intensity kind of lacking from him on the screen sometimes. It wasn't really until the end where I started feeling like, but maybe that was intentional, you know.
I was going to say, I think that because I agree with you, I feel like that might have been a little bit of character progression.
Yeah. Yeah, so like he starts off as like the mom said you got to take me with you type little brother type shit. So like he trying to be involved as much as he can, but he know he not built like that. You know what I'm saying? But he wanna pull his own weight, but you know he ain't cut like that. He know he ain't willing to catch a body like that. And that's one thing that I mentioned earlier before we started. I feel like they gave you everything necessary to understand what was going on with pretty much all of the characters in the first 16 and a half minutes, which you don't get that a whole lot in movies.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah, characters was good. You wanted to talk about the plot, or
I wanted to say one more thing about Forrest, Tom Hardy. I feel like he probably had the least amount of speaking time, but I feel like every time that he spoke, it meant something. You know what I'm saying? Like he was one of those men of few words type niggas. You know, there was times where his response would just be a grunt or a mumble or some shit, and I feel like that helped shape his character. You know, that helped help you understand what type of nigga he was.
yeah, it had me weak too. He beat the niggas' asses. He hit him with the brass knuckles and shit, and like exploded this motherfucker's trachea. He punched him in the neck or something when they pulled the gun on Shorty and shit.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Luno.
Hey, Art, can you mute your mic real quick?
Of,
background, bro.
The first couple of times that like I watched the movie, I thought the same thing. I was like, bro, he punched him in his Adam's apple so hard that bitch exploded. But this last time, I think what he actually did, I think he uppercut that motherfucker in the jaw and he damn near bit his tongue off.
Okay, because he was coughing like gushing blood when he was on the ground.
Yeah, because I was like, God damn.
But what I brought that scene up for was because it really was pointing to his character. After he did all that shit and Shorty was standing there shaking and shit like that, he was like, sorry. Yeah. There you go, walks to clean it up. Like, he had nothing to say, really. So I like that shit, that ornery shit you do.
Why y'all talking about all these bum ass niggas and not talking about big rakes? Like that nigga the best nigga in the whole movie.
Here we go. This nigga.
All right.
I will say that he did his part very, very well. Like whenever
he was amazing.
That's one thing that I've said that was told to me, that when an actor can get you to hate them, they're doing their job right.
He's talking about a villain. So I think what it is that Guy Pearce, like, yeah, he definitely did a great job at playing a villain. That's what a villain is supposed to be. I feel like that what he did on screen, it was like it's not that like for me, Puos, I didn't hate him, but it's like he's supposed to be the antagonist that the audience isn't rooting for, or that they don't like, or that they want him to get his, like, you know, they want him to get justice or whatever the fuck. He played that character well, I feel like.
But he was doing everything so fire. Beat Buddy ass as soon as he walked in there. Oh, you one of them niggas? I'm finna beat your ass real fast. Go back to your brothers. Oh, you one of them niggas? Okay, I'm finna rape your bitch.
Come on,
I'll challenge him on this point.
He gets points for beating up a pussy. Like,
yeah.
I'll say that. Yeah.
Don't they call them niggas untouchable or something? He just heard. All he heard was the last name. Oh, you one of them? I'm finna beat your ass. I don't know which one you is.
Here's what I'm finna say, bro.
He knew it wasn't.
It's like,
well, what he do to the nigga who's supposed to be the nigga?
Hey, Puos, here's what I'll tell you. You don't get no points for, like, you know what I'm saying?
Almost came off his head.
You don't what? you don't get points for smoking for smoking Tito Jackson.
Well, what
bro.
about Forrest? What happened
You
to him?
don't.
So
What
He
happened to
sick
Forrest?
niggas film 'cause he
Nothing.
pussy.
Nothing from Charlie Ray.
Because he put.
What?
So if I go put a hit out on the nigga, I'm a hoe. How?
Yes, because you won't
I
do it
think-
yourself.
I just beat your
He
little
ain't
brother
put a
ass. You
hit
come
out
do
on
something.
nobody.
Come do
That's
something to
the
me. I beat
problem.
your brother little ass.
He ain't do nothing like that.
I
That's
beat
not
your
what
brother
happened, bro.
ass. Come do something to me.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
nigga, how
like
he a
I
hoe?
say,
Because he sent
the
some niggas
only
in, beat your
shit
brother
you
ass.
see where that nigga
happened,
ended up
He
at.
didn't rape your bitch.
bro.
Hold
the
on,
only
y'all.
are you
Hold
talking
on. Hold
about?
on, y'all. Hold on.
He didn't rape that nigga bitch.
One at a time.
No.
One at a time.
No.
What are you talking about?
He
Yeah,
raped
like
somebody.
you made
It
that
was
up.
somebody else, Pua.
Oh,
Here's
well,
what.
that
Let
should
me
have been his
explain to you,
bitch.
Pools. The only
What?
thing
It
that
was.
happened negative to Forrest in that movie before the ending was that motherfucker. He beat people ass, so they set up a trap and waited out there so they could catch him slipping and shit. Like a motherfucker didn't, he thought he was checking on his car, and they tried to smoke his shit.
Because they
And then
lost
they
the
went in
fade.
there and had consensual sex. You know what I'm saying? With a woman that fucked with him, that I don't know if he knew fuck with him at the time. You see
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying?
think
Whatever, bro.
so Puos, what it is that I feel like they did a good job at kind of like building up the confrontation between like Forrest and Rakes.
And he aired that nigga out too. Soon as, bro, shut up, man. Not you, Slim, but he aired this Forrest nigga out like at the end. Like
He
what?
didn't, bro.
I'm done.
And then he got aired out.
We can go
He
to the
shot-
Bullet for bullet. He
he
got aired
shot,
out right
buddy.
after that. 5
I'm
minutes
done.
later,
Shot,
he got
buddy,
aired
but
out
buddy lived
and got
through that
split in
bitch.
half. Stupid ass nigga.
I don't think you aired somebody out if they lived through it.
Bro, getting aired out, me and the nigga shot your ass up, bro. What are you
Man,
talking about?
I guess, bro. I mean, he hit him twice.
I think
Twice.
He did, bro. That was
but
how I
look though,
counted.
so like I think what they did was it's not like really that surface level. I think what they did is that they were trying to build the anticipation for the end. They didn't want to just directly put Forrest and Rakes into like a head-to-head confrontation. So what they did was they brought the two of them together at the beginning, and that's when they introduced Rakes to everybody. And then they told them like, "Hey, Forrest, this the new special deputy in town or whatever. He want a cut of what y'all doing." Forrest said, "Nah, we not paying shit." And so what happened was, after that, he pulled up. Rakes pulled up. Like you said, he ran down on Cricket and the granny or the aunt, whoever she was, the auntie. He ran down, and then Jack was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Jack." And then he beat Jack ass. He beat the fuck out of Jack.
He didn't do that, Slim boy. That
no,
boy
he did.
Nah, he beat the shit out that boy.
He walked in there meek as a motherfucker. He said, "The old lady doesn't have nothing." Like, then he got the shit kicked out of
what
me.
I'm saying is, no, he was like, who the fuck are you or some shit like that. And he told the nigga I'm Jack Bunt.
He didn't. Somebody else had to tell him.
Oh well,
I think somebody else said it.
Somebody else.
Same thing.
They had he had found out through the great.
It was Cricket.
Who the Von Durants was.
Here's what I'll say, bro.
Go ahead.
Guy Pearce.
I wasn't finished.
I bet you weren't.
So pretty much, KTL, same thing. All I'm saying is when Jack walked in, he got introduced to who Jack was. He found out the last name and he beat the fuck out of him. So what I think it was is that's just like a chess move. On the other hand, Forrest was doing the same thing. Forrest went and got the niggas that snuck him, the niggas that worked for him, and him and Howard went out there. They cut the nigga balls off, and they sent them over there to Rakes.
That's henchmen. You don't give a fuck about them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was like a back and forth thing. They didn't really just want to put both of them together from the beginning because then we wouldn't have no movie.
Most of the time that Rakes had an influence on what was going on, he was sending niggas. Really, the only person he put hands on was Jack.
He put hands on the cousin and Cricket.
Oh,
he put hands on niggas.
Yeah, you're right.
Guy Pearce.
And he shot niggas.
Guy Pearce played
keep in mind that
a sniveling cunt. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the type of
say
character.
that shit to his face.
I understand.
So
he played a sniveling cunt, like chicken shit villain. He went out there, he got his hands dirty at times. You know what I'm saying? He got active with those that he knew he could push around. and then he sent people
Fact.
to do shit to other people.
All right,
That, you know what I'm
but
saying? Were a
let's
bit
be real,
more
right?
dangerous.
Even as a
hold
leader,
on. So here's what I'm saying. You know, throughout the movie, he avoids his comeuppance. You know, he has like things that minorly inconvenience him mentally or whatnot, but nothing ever physically happens to him until the end of the movie. And that is definitely by design. That is the intent of creating a good villain character. Is that, you know, this motherfucker, like, you
He
want
seems
some shit to
unbeatable.
happen to them, but nothing is gonna happen to them until it's time. You know?
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that Rakes actually, even if you take out the interactions with our main cast and shit, you have to keep in mind that throughout the movie, he gets his stronghold on the motherfucking town and shit. Because they were saying to by the end or whatever else that the last remaining people to fucking revolt against the
Was the
fucking
brothers,
district was the Bondurans and shit, yo. Everybody else got stamped out, so that motherfucker really brought in the new regime and shit, yo. So he
What do y'all
definitely
think
put in
about?
work.
What y'all think about Howard? We didn't talk about Howard that much.
Oh yeah,
I
we
think
gotta
he
talk about
played-
Howard real quick.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. So he was the big brother. He was also
Yes.
the enforcer.
Well, he
Yes.
was the
That
middle
nigga,
brother,
bro,
I think.
when he
No, he was
came
the
out and
oldest.
beat the shit out the sheriff and his deputy, that shit was hilarious.
I was gonna
Like
say,
Howard is that nigga,
what
bro.
we're like, a lot of the focus on this movie is gonna be like, damn, Forrest did this cold ass shit. If we're being realistic, like, Howard was the heavy lifter of the movie.
Bro,
He
Howard
did
might
some
have been the
dumbass
most
fuck
active nigga,
shit,
bro.
but he definitely like was in there like getting active the entire
Yeah, I think it's
movie.
what Root said. Like he was like the enforcer. He's like the brute, like the nigga that he's more force.
Well, they said
Like,
he had been in the military, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Oh, so I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because
Hey,
like
that-
in the beginning, he
So
said,
that was
like, his
him
whole-
that when he was
his
talking.
No,
whole
I
telling the
think they
story,
were
he
saying that
watched his
Forrest was in
whole-
the military.
Yeah,
they
that's what they
all
say. His
drowned.
oldest brother. No,
They
it was
all
Howard.
drowned, and he watched
Oh,
the
okay.
motherfuckers drown around him.
Yeah, the shit that
Yeah,
happened
so-
with Forrest was that some kind of sickness or plague or something came to
Yeah,
the town,
Yeah,
and
it
it
killed their
wiped out
parents.
everybody except for him. Yeah, the parents. He was the only one that survived it or whatever.
That's crazy.
Let's talk about that fucking scene, bro. Him, bro. So
Which
what
scene?
I want to say, what happened? Jack got beat up, and then Mr. Rakes went ahead and sent the sheriff over there to try to give them a notice or whatever, trying to shake them down and shit.
That's what. Yeah.
That nigga Forrest said, "You met Howard." Nigga
Yo.
Howard kicked through the door.
He said,
punched
"You
the
gonna
nigga
shoot
in
me?
his shit.
You gonna shoot me?"
That nigga say, "What you
Bro.
gonna shoot me, huh?"
Bro,
Started
punched them
beating
dead
them
in his
niggas'
shit.
ass.
Threw niggas on their ass. Was about to, bro. He took a
He said,
gas
"All
pump
right,
and was
that's
about to
enough,
fill
Howard.
that nigga with
Hey,
gasoline. bro.
Puos, that nigga Howard said, "What? Oh, you gonna shoot me?" And they started beating that nigga ass with the nigga got
Hey.
a gun.
Nigga
No,
don't
and
give
then
a fuck.
and then afterwards, Forrest hoed the fuck out of him. He was sitting there like, "Hey, y'all know better than to come around when he been drinking like this."
Hey, nigga talking about no hard feelings.
And then he
No-
took their
no hard
bullets.
feelings.
Said it's not personal. You
It's
just
not
had your
personal,
big
Forrest.
brother beat the shit out of me. What you mean it's not personal?
No, the other
Yeah,
nigga
and
said
then the
that.
fucking
The cop
sheriff
said
or whatever
that.
just walked his bitch ass off. Like he let a
The cop said
motherfucker
it
take
wasn't
his
personal.
bullets and fucking.
Yeah, that sheriff was not a sheriff, bro. Like I ain't never seen a sheriff get hold so many damn times. This nigga got hold a good 4 or 5 times. throughout
All
the
the
movie,
cops
bro.
was some bitch ass niggas though.
Well, to
They
be
were all
fair,
right.
I mean,
They
like
was.
y'all seen it when that dude was talking to Rakes over there. Like he was really like they really thought that these motherfuckers was like invincible.
Yeah,
You know
they
what
told
I'm
him
saying?
that. And I something about that KTL. I think they kind of kept they kept throwing that up like over and over again. Where like he said, these brothers are like the town think they invincible, and then they started talking about the legend. Like the girl Bertha, she was telling Jack about, yeah, it's a legend about y'all that y'all can't die, this and that, whatever she said. But it's like they brought that up about 3, 4, or 5 times, and I think they were trying to paint that picture for us to where, okay, these motherfuckers, the Bondurant, it's hard to say their fucking name, the brothers or whatever, it's Bondurant.
It's really they say it
Whatever.
Bondurant.
So I just say Bondurant.
It depends on if you country or not.
Facts.
Well, yeah, so pretty much they was painting that image of them the entire movie, like these motherfuckers are invincible. Like they used the word immortal at one point, and I think something that was funny was that like the nigga Guy Pearce, Rakes, Like, it was two
Just
times
look
where
at
he.
Pujols' name if you
I know
forget
what
his
you're talking
name.
about.
It was two times where he referenced that shit. Like, the first time he told the nigga, he said, "You know what a submachine gun to do to an immortal?"
That shit was
And
fire.
that shit was
Yeah.
fire. And then at the end, whenever they was in the shootout, and he was like, "Immortal, huh? Whatever the fuck," and he
Hey, that
was finna
big
shoot the
country
fuck out that nigga.
motherfucker said, hey, that country motherfucker told him, you know what? I don't very much like you. Like,
Yeah, that was the sheriff, but he still was like under that nigga's rule. You know what I'm saying? He
that's because
said he didn't like him.
got his bitch ass in line. He knew that. Like,
Yo,
hey,
Yeah, that
you
that
know,
that
you know,
motherfucker, the special
you a
deputy,
side character, boy.
Rakes don't
Rakes will
play
put
clean,
you
bro.
on a
I feel like
shirt.
he would have fucked over anybody in his way, to be honest.
one thing I'll say, I feel like the violent parts of these of the movie, right? I feel like they were simple but fire as hell. Like the fucking tar and feathering of the cousin, that shit was crazy.
That's a thing that we often hear about, like, as a thing, but you don't often see depicted on a screen. And like just the thought process of like this fucking molten asphalt or whatever just being poured on your skin, how they would try to get that bitch
That
off.
shit is crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
After it happened to you, like what you would
the
be like
gruesomeness.
permanently fucked up for the rest
Yeah.
of your life.
The
you know?
gruesomeness parts, they sold it very well. My only criticisms is in the final shootout. It's kind of weird how we watched The Enemy of the State and it had a little bit of an abrupt kind of shootout as its climax. This one here had a little bit of pacing to it and stuff like that, but kind of an interesting way they chose to close this one out. Obviously Jack was given, the torch, so to speak, by Forrest in this movie. A lot of gems get dropped, such as, you got to keep that fear close or else you die. You know what I'm saying?
Fire scene.
Yeah, he was giving him gems all throughout the movie, I think, to set Jack up for the greatness he had in him. And so at the end of the movie, we had him like have this like, character progression, obviously. But at the same time, though, like Rakes was sold to me like the bee's knees. Like that nigga was a threat.
The bee's
Like he was a threat. Like
that nigga was definitely doing what the fuck he wanted whenever he did.
And to be fair, like Jack pulled up Dolo. Like that shit could have went a whole different way.
Bro, he really didn't know how it was gonna go a whole different way. It had his follow up, but that nigga ran down.
I'll be that guy,
already
though.
gut shot. Nigga, fuck you. You just
Yeah,
shot
I'm
my
about
brother
to say,
and you shot me,
like
bitch.
Jack, like you're building up to this pause climax of this movie where like Jack is finally like he's not this scared little brother anymore and some shit, and then immediately he walk up talking shit and get clapped. Like
okay,
like he you know what I'm saying? He what?
And then he
that
get
nigga was
Forrest
moving
shot
off
and being
emotion,
shot.
bro.
He
we
got
talk
Danny
about
killed.
it a lot.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of not being like that. Like no matter how much you grow, you just not like
Hey,
that.
but KTL, let me say this. So obviously we all know Jack ain't like that. He's never been like that throughout the entire movie.
But
I think what it was,
he gonna grow into being like that and then just back.
Well, so if we're being realistic, you can't grow into that quickly. Pause. But what I think it is that
I was about to say that it would be more unrealistic if he just become that nigga out of nowhere. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I feel
if I
like
can
the
edit
loss
this
of
nigga's
like
volume,
something
man.
that
What's wrong
you
with this
care
nigga?
about. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that shit,
I
like
can't.
would drive a motherfucker.
Okay, I can.
and also getting shot don't mean you not like that. You got shot. Like nigga got shot. Like
that nigga
Yeah, but
earned
he ain't
stripes
even try to let a
fast as
round
fuck.
off. He was
Art,
talking
Art,
shit.
when
He
he said
seen
he
Buddy,
not
and
like
he ain't
What
that,
even up
happened when
that
big
bitch.
rakes around, nigga?
I feel like
Yeah,
what
but
he
Jack
means
wasn't like that the entire
He
movie
ain't
for
even
sure.
up that bitch. He said, "Hey, come out here, you coward son of a bitch."
Nigga came out
He
there
saw
and
him
aired
and
him
didn't
up.
even up that bitch,
bro,
boy.
it's kind of like how like I used to criticize Bad News as a rapper. We would talk a little bad rap, my bad, but he would talk about how he got shot and then play it off like he lives a type of life, right? Like we only saying like you can't brag about getting shot. You brag about hitting the motherfucker with the bullets, So in that sense, he wasn't like that even toward the very end. And I honestly thought that he cleaned up scraps. Like he didn't even really do any of the major work. They got backup. You know what I'm saying? He just got to do the last shot. Like,
But look,
that's
though,
a fact.
this is what the point that I was getting to was I was about to say that it's not that it was like this big character progression where he changed and now he's suddenly like he's tough. Now he won. No, I think what it was it was a really good scene where they had the cricket shit happen. And the cricket shit was fire. Like it's unfortunate, but the scene is so I think it was good for like building tension, like building emotion, like kind of like to get like an emotional response out of like the audience and everything.
Yeah.
I think when they killed Cricket, that was what made Jack snap. And so it was mostly out of rage and anger that he went out there and was like, I'm finna go blast some shit.
That nigga sat on that shit for like two days. It looked like
the nigga cried.
Just boiling. He cried. He can't talk to nobody, bro. He just sitting there staring at his homeboy picture in the mirror and whatnot, bro. Like I feel like that was super fire. Like seeing the way he went through his grief, losing his partner like that.
And but look, not even him though. My bad. Not even him. I feel like so we don't see Cricket a lot on screen, but most of the time when we see him on screen, he's with Jack. We know these two are like fucking best friends, and it's Cricket and Jack together type shit. But I think after that shit happened, where also the scene where Jack took the girl down to where they make all the moonshine, and they got tracked down there. Guy Pearce rakes. They followed them down there, and then they had the shootout shit, and they fucking blew the shit up. That scene right after where
that might be the best scene.
That scene was fire. But when Jack came back and Howard was there, and Forrest finally walked in, and he started kind of reprimanding Jack. And Howard was going to say some shit.
He said, "You dumb."
He was going to get on Howard ass. But then Howard mentioned the fact that he found out Cricket got killed.
Everybody got quiet.
Everybody got quiet. Like the whole room
if you
shut
look at
down.
the scene, Jack's over there having his meltdown or whatever, and it just cuts to like an extended scene of like Howard looking at Forrest, basically like, this is what you wanted, right? You want him to toughen up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think that scene symbolized. It was like them giving each other the look like, all right, now he gonna know that pain. Like he finally learned, like kind of, yeah.
So I took that more like
through the fucking the trees and shit.
What was that
yelling
fucking
like
noise
a
he was doing,
banshee,
bro? That was the alarm, bro.
It was two purposes. It was two purposes.
I was
to let Jack and Cricket know.
Bart, you sound like a robot.
Yeah, that shit's horrible. It was to let
that nigga is.
I don't know why.
That nigga runs off of rage and moonshine, bro.
It was to let them know that a motherfucker was on the way, and it was also to like scare the motherfuckers that like didn't know what was around here. What the fuck?
It didn't scare them at all.
Like,
but what y'all said before?
No, the peons it did. They started looking around. Like,
I heard them say where the fuck that's coming from, but they still went through and did what they had to do.
Because they had big bad rakes with them.
But I was gonna say, like, that's why I was talking about Howard earlier. Like, this motherfucker is the true animal, son. This dude made a battle cry and shit to signal his homies and shit.
He drank a whole jar of moonshine and just let that bitch out, like,
bro. Then he bust in the fucking room where
this nigga don't care about niggas with guns.
And he upped that bitch, Slim. He had that bitch with him, like,
So the brothers. Outside of Jack, like his two brothers was like they was like that. Hey,
bro.
Something else though. Cricket was a real nigga because at one point Cricket got the gun and
so
the nigga say you move, I'm a bust.
I was in the bar fight. Yeah.
Nigga say I might be crippled, but if you move, I'm
blow your brains out. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna do you one, little nigga.
To be fair though, I will say he did that shit. But he did that shit after that motherfucker was damn near unconscious on the ground.
Oh yeah, he had already got hit in his shit.
He wasn't gonna try nothing.
All he was saying was don't get up, don't move. So
but I wanted to we haven't discussed it yet. How do y'all feel about Gary Oldman performance?
Which one?
Floyd Banner.
Floyd Banner
was cool.
Might have been
the first time
you nigga in this whole shit,
he aired that bitch out, boy.
That nigga aired out the whole in front of the barber shop, guys.
And said, put that boy on a shirt in front of the barbershop.
Two of them, bro. It was a nigga driving and a nigga in the passenger seat. He lit that whole bitch up, bro.
What's crazy about it too is that he had a whole Tommy gun. Like that's probably the most like out of nowhere,
the most dangerous shit back then.
It's a mafia stereotype. Like,
but he blasted that shit up, and then when he seen Jack on the way back to his vehicle, he winked at him like he did. He paused, but he knew damn well.
Like, hey, you see it, huh?
You saw that, right? You saw that shit, right? This that real shit, right? You're like,
and then him later,
how he moved every time we see him. We only see him twice, but just how he moved, he epitomizes what a gangster is.
Bro,
back
the
then,
second time we see him, you know what I'm saying? They have that. I don't know if it's a misunderstanding, what you want to call it, but you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
that
Oh, they
was
was trying
not
to
a
rob them.
misunderstanding at
well,
all. They was
what
gonna
I'm
rob
saying
them
is
niggas.
like, because like that wasn't like Floyd Ben. He wouldn't have did that shit. It was his slimy ass fucking.
That's not
henchman.
true.
KTL,
Well,
I'm
see,
not sure
Floyd,
what you're talking
the
about.
Floyd
They
thing is,
Banner,
pulled up and
so
they're about to
look,
Floyd
get
Banner
buried
was right
alive.
there. He told him
so
to kill
look,
No,
that
but
They
nigga.
he,
get
like
shot and
I'm
buried.
saying, like if
hold
he had known,
on, Eric, hold on, hold on.
I'm saying,
Exactly. So
yeah, like that's why he
the
let that
deal
shit
was
go.
set up between the gummy, whatever his
Yeah, this
gummy
little
Rogers, whatever the
slimy
fuck,
son of a bitch.
and Cricket. They were the ones. That was the connection between the two.
Yeah.
He didn't know Jack was gonna be there. So it looked like they
Yes.
just hitting a regular lick. And then
Well,
Jack like, hey, I'm one of the Bondurants. This nigga like, oh shit, I'm not trying to have that type of
But what
smoke
I
come
was
up on
gonna
me right
say
now.
is
you
like
right,
he
but
gave a
he's still the type of
motherfucker,
nigga to just do
he
that
gave
shit.
a
It just so
motherfucker
He
an
happens.
definitely is.
excessive amount of money. Then he hit the shit out that motherfucker with a shovel, boy. He
Facts,
Nigga
fire.
say I ain't
smacked the
trying to have no
fuck out.
family feud.
Hey,
till the
Yeah,
KT,
because
family
he was
feud
acting
come
cool
down.
and shit, but he had to punish him in front of everybody, make an example. Said, "Yo, don't drag niggas like
The
that over
first
here and
time
get
I
us
saw
into
that
some
movie, I
problems."
thought that he killed him. I thought he was like, yeah, put him in that
Facts, I
hole.
did think he was
Like,
dead. You
Hey,
get hit over the
KT,
head
I
with a
think
whole ass
yes.
shovel.
something that I also saw with that scene was that whenever he found out it was Jack and he brought him in and Jack negotiated with him for the product. Something that he did was that he wrote down the address and he told him like, tell your brother like I
Yeah,
ain't have shit to do with
he
it
ain't
type
want no
shit.
smoke.
And I think that scene right there is something else that just it was to add to like the legend or add to like
Yeah, exactly.
how powerful, how invincible these fucking brothers
The
are.
biggest
Because the
gangster
biggest gangster
did
in the
not
town
want
ain't
no
want no
smoke,
smoke
bro.
with Forrest. Puos, the biggest gangster in the town ain't want no smoke with Forrest, man.
Yeah,
know.
but Rakes
Wasn't
did.
even like
Everybody knew
low
Rakes was
key.
fooling. Like
It
they,
wasn't even just off the strength of some shit he did. It was
No,
off
it was
the
about who he
strength of
was.
word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like it
So
wasn't
I
just
assume
because like he just killed some people. Like he was like, no, like I really hear these motherfuckers like get down. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's why I say
assume they
I
did shit
assume that
before.
I assume that it's based off reputation because of what they've done. Because even this with the preacher, we had Bertha and her dad who was the preacher. She told Jack that like my daddy say ever since y'all came around, like y'all the worst thing to come around the town or some shit like that. So they didn't have to put in some kind of work
I'll
for
tell
niggas to
you
respect them
something,
like
boy.
that.
I am an equal opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I believe in consistency through this podcast. We done had, a lot of movies where we talked about like some of the gorgeous women. Jack bitch was ass until the end of the movie.
Jesus
She
Bertha?
was
Christ.
ass. She was
Well,
ass. Roots.
she was
They
supposed to
gave her
be
that
like
nice pretty dress and let her hair down. That was the first time I got to see her not be Amish. And I was like, he's Shia LaBeouf over there, like he the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. I'm like, hey, bro, maybe that's to you, that's fine, but that is sorry as
But
fuck,
KTL,
boy.
you got to look at what you said though. So you got to think this is the 1930 era or whatever, and she's a preacher's daughter, and like you said, she dressed like she was fucking Amish the damn entire time, and so that's how her character was meant to look. However, you said whenever she got out of character type shit, because they said at the end like she always been a little bit rebellious or whatever. So when she finally got out of character, you looked at her, and I guess you said that she looked better to you. I guess I think that was by design.
Right there, Slim, you make some very good points. So what I'd like to say that like that bitch was ass. That's what I'd like to say. Like until the at the end of the movie,
I don't think she was fire either.
She got herself a decent haircut. She put some makeup on. She was looking right pretty.
You talking about when they got married at the end? When they got married?
Yeah, like she was looking like a right Southern belle at that point. But until then, that bitch was just out there just Amish and just like looking like a plain hot and spicy.
What's wrong with being
chicken
Amish,
sandwich.
bro?
I think that was by design.
She was a plain hot and spicy chicken sandwich, Roots. Just
What about that boy Jack?
nothing.
What about that boy Jack going to church for her and then making a fool of himself?
Yeah, because that bitch touched his feet.
He was drunk.
He was drunk, but he
That
also
nigga
like
was not having it, boy.
Boy left the boot.
Nigga said I ain't want to have my feet washed.
I think that was an excuse.
I'll say that,
That's an excuse.
I will say that though, man. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a church, went there, for the better part of 2 decades. I definitely wouldn't want, no bitch in the church washing my feet neither, bro. I'm good.
Especially
So
if it's
obviously-
what you like.
So
That's
KT,
embarrassing.
obviously,
I'm straight.
listen, I don't know what religion that was. Obviously, that's a tradition.
They was
in that
Amish.
church.
They was Amish, bro.
They were for real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. My bad.
I don't know.
I thought
They might have been Hasidic Jews or something.
Amish
I
not
don't
even
know.
a religion, is it? That's not a religion.
It's a lifestyle, but they have an
I said, hold
associated
on,
religion
religion,
where it's like
It's-
it's like fundamental baptism or things of that nature.
Well, whatever
Protestant.
it was, that was like the tradition. Obviously, Jack wouldn't know that because he don't go to church. He just went there for the girl. But
Yeah.
I think so outside of Jack and his relationship, I think the one between Forrest and Maggie was done pretty decently. Like they had the scene where she
It was
knew
a
he
great
was watching.
build-up to it.
Yeah, she knew he was watching from the door, and she got up and walked in there naked and shit, talking about how long you gonna watch me?
That was fire.
Yeah,
It was
she
like,
got
it was like,
what?
what
That's
you
Big
doing?
Bad Force.
That
You
nigga,
see that shit,
Big
Pujols?
Bad Forrest
You hear
pull
what I'm
holes
saying?
without even trying, nigga.
I was about to say a bitch walked
It sounded
in there
to me
and she
like
just
he was
dropped
shook.
that shit. All
Sounded
I
to
He
me
was
like
know,
definitely
shook,
shook.
bro.
He was definitely
Nah, he
shook,
was
but the hoe still
no,
gravitated.
Why was he watching the hoe?
He was just
he
looking
wasn't-
at her
God.
through
He
the
wasn't
door.
watching that hoe, bro. That's
Oh,
what
yes,
I'm
he
saying.
was.
Like,
She
no,
was
he
standing there
didn't.
waiting for him to see her, bro.
Yeah,
Hey,
but like here's what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? That bitch had her feelings and shit. I think he was just being the way that he is, you know what I'm saying? Like when he told that bitch, like, cause she was finna leave, when he told that bitch she could come like stay at the place where they was at, because like, you know what I'm saying, he didn't want some shit. I don't think it was because he was trying to like fuck on her. I think he was just like, all right,
Trying
he
to keep her
obviously
safe.
he
it's
obviously
really
liked
not
her.
safe.
He
Like
liked her
Yeah, I
since
know
the
he
first
but I
day he
think he
saw her.
was being like I think his character was like
Like
had
a
some southern
gentleman or some
gentleman
shit?
ways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so what I get from that scene is that this is not the first time he's looked in that room at her laying in the bed.
Yeah,
Because
but what I'm saying is like I don't like when I see that, I don't think it's like he's looking like, God damn, I love this woman. I think he's like checking to see if that bitch, is all right. If that bitch
I
ain't
don't
fucked
agree.
up.
I don't agree.
know, because I do think he like a resolute dude, so he don't show everything. He keeps to himself. He's like mad reserved. They show you that all movie, but certain times, like before she left, when he got his neck cut, before when she was leaving, like there was like a lasting sort of, her hand was rubbing his hand when they shook hands and she was leaving. Like I could sense like it was some type of chemistry shit.
And I
going
think
on.
that's why
I
she
will
turned
say-
around, Luno, because she was like, fuck, like, she was supposed to, she wanted to go back there where he was, because obviously, like you said, they had a moment and nobody did nothing about it. I think she was going around to take charge, just like she did when she walked and got in the bed with him, because he
I
wasn't
will
taking
say
charge.
that is an instance of duality they used in the movie, though, right? You know what I'm saying? You see Forrest and Maggie, you know what I'm saying? Like that when their situation happens, she decides like fuck this. She goes in there and basically goes after him. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you see the scene
Jack.
where Rakes is over there, you know what I'm saying? He's like doing his fucking eyebrows in the mirror, whatever, and he's got like, the naked woman. I wasn't being funny, I promise I wasn't.
Nah,
But,
it's coming. It's coming.
You got that naked woman over there, and she's just distraught by whatever just happened. I'm not going to presume.
That lady
But
was
I think it
scared as
rhymes.
fuck on the bed.
Rhymes with
She was
Rakes.
shook.
I think it rhymes with
He
Rakes.
definitely she was definitely not there by consent.
By consent. No,
She not at all.
Yeah, like so. I think
That's why
that
Pujols
just,
fuck with him. I
serves
know.
as like they did the duality of the hero versus the villain or whatever the fuck.
Shout out Augustine the King, man. Shout out
But, yeah, that shit right there. Like I think that they did that shit like intentionally. But I will. So, what did y'all think of like we gotta wrap this up here soon. What did y'all think of the scene right before the final showdown? You know what I'm saying, where like Jack had just run off, and so like
Maggie
Forrest and Maggie are having that conversation. Howard's
Yeah.
like freaking out and all of that shit. I think that was a very good scene as well. You know what I'm saying? They did the emotion and shit, and he finds out like he really thought that he just walked to that bitch.
That
He thought
shit
he
was
blacked out
hilarious.
and walked with his neck cut off.
He said,
And
ain't it just like you
he
to believe
didn't-
your own legend?
And he didn't. So Forrest is clearly not the type to brag on himself or whatnot. But that just shows to what the people of the town think of him, bro. Like they assume somebody cut this nigga neck. They had to do it they had to sneak him because ain't no
And
way
he
you just gonna
walked
run down
to the fucking
and this
hospital.
nigga just walked 20
Well, first
miles.
things first. Like, what did they assume? Did they assume he killed the people too? Like, they just
Of course
left,
they
you know,
did.
like
That's what because that's how they see
he
them.
fought him off
Especially
with a
for
cut
us.
up neck and then
No,
walked all the
no.
way.
No,
to
that's
the
not the
next.
truth. That's not the
yeah.
truth. That's just the story that was told. Like everybody thought because it was him that he survived the situation that he had walked himself because he's such a savage.
Yeah.
But the truth is that Maggie drove him
Yeah.
after finding him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but then something bad happened to her before then too, which is like
Yeah,
the
'cause she
one
came
the
back.
one time during the movie, that like I was like, okay, this is a bit like I don't believe this shit because he's laying on there bleeding out his neck, and they got all the time in the world, you know what I'm saying, to sexually assault this woman, and then she still can like pick him up, find him, and take him to the.
Why don't you believe that?
Because I believe he would have bled out pretty fucking
I
quick.
think he was doing that thing where he was holding his neck together.
Yeah, but when he passed out, I assumed he probably would have lost a grip on that hoe.
I don't know when he passed out.
I don't know if
They-
Shit,
they
right
didn't
when he
show.
hit the ground.
Nah, he was like huffing and looking around with his eyes. They showed
Yeah,
his
he was still
perspective
awake.
Yeah,
looking
but
up at
like,
the
didn't
sky
it
and
black
shit.
out on screen?
Nah, he looked up at the sky. It began to snow. She
Then I
arrived
saw
after
her.
that.
Yeah, I saw her after
Yeah.
that. They didn't show him passing out.
Well, let me say, I assume that he passed out too because, like, you know what I'm saying, he don't remember how he got to the hospital.
True. Yeah.
He might have passed out. Well, yeah, maybe at some point.
Yeah, like in transit type deal.
But yeah, that was just a thing where I was like, okay, I don't know, like this is kind of pushing it for me.
Okay, so yeah, I was going to talk about that scene. That's what I was talking about actually when I was talking about their relationship. I think the scene is fire. It was definitely necessary. Like when she did the shit where he kept asking her like what they did to you or whatever, and she started crying. He was like, "Look at me." She had tears in her eyes.
Hell yeah,
them bastards ain't do shit to me, not a damn thing, whatever.
Whole ass
Obviously, we know. Okay, yeah, you're
that's one
telling
of
a
those
message here.
instances where, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying, the words are meant to send a different message than what is actually being said.
And I think it was the emotion that she had with it too. Like she's crying. If it was really nothing they did to her, you wouldn't be right here crying in front of his face saying they did. So I think it was just the combination.
But she G'd up in that moment too, though. It's like because at the same time she didn't want him going to do. She didn't want him leaving in the first place.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to give him any more incentive to go out and possibly lose his life.
But I think she finally did. That's when she did. I think she did it right there. That was a confession.
Yeah, he can read through that. You crying while you telling me nothing happened. Like, of course something happened. You know what I'm saying? That's like the final straw. Like at that point, before she said something, he's like just going out to save his brother. He's not trying to. Jack done cracked his motherfucking skull open and shit. He moving off emotion right now. I gotta go save my little brother. And then that shit happened. Like, nah,
it became personal.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. I think that's it. Should we get to the final thoughts?
Absolutely.
I don't know where Pujols went, but I think this is a good opportunity right before we get to it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and present my theory. Like I say, I think Charlie Rakes might have been a closeted homosexual in this movie. And the things that make, that lead me to, I feel like he got very upset about that whole Nance thing. And I understand, like he's like, oh, the first time he's like, you got me fucked up. I'm gonna body the shit out your partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he did that. He went and got his lick back. He's like, all right, bitch. Now who's, you know what I'm saying? But he kept saying that shit through the movie. You know what I'm saying? He had some effeminate mannerisms. I think that there's a possibility that he might have been a closeted homosexual. That shit with that woman, I feel like, maybe he was like trying to, prove to himself, you know what I'm saying? Like some shit like, hey, they got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. This is not a founded. This is just, a movie theory. But I think I've got some decent evidence to back that shit. And he does too. Yeah, he does too. That's
nigga mean business, boy.
Yeah, that right there. That's Rakes walking away when a motherfucker called him a Nance.
Howard the
I'm a
Duck
Nance,
fuck
hey?
shit up there, boy.
I'm a Nance, huh?
And this nigga too.
Shout out John.
I was like, Jack.
Shout out John. Man, they look like Jack. All right, man. Y'all ready to get into the final thoughts?
Yeah.
All right, Slim. Poole said that he had DM'd you your score. DMG.
Yeah, so I got the score from Art. Art said Art gives it an 8. Poole said he don't think he should give it a rating because he wasn't all the way focused on the movie. I believe that might be why he didn't have a lot to say too. So
Okay.
I don't have a score from Pools. I have a score from Art. Art gives it an 8.
Okay.
So I guess I'll go ahead and start this off, man. I just want to mention a couple things that I found out like before I give my rating. But so obviously we mentioned it earlier. This is based on a true story, or based on true events, based off the real life Bondurant brothers. And
Like this came from a book, fun fact.
yeah, it came from a book written by like one of their grandsons. Yeah, grandsons. Matt Bondurant. I don't know which one he was the grandson of, but yeah, he wrote a book in 2008, and it basically this is where the movie is coming from, like what he detailed in the book. And so one thing I saw is that apparently Shia LaBeouf had to drink moonshine throughout this production so he can get the authentic appearance of like a drunk ass nigga, like. And so his aggressive behavior that he had during the shoot and everything, it almost made the girl that played Bertha, she almost left the film because of the way he was acting during the shoot.
Wow.
And Tom Hardy was allegedly like apparently sober throughout the movie, so maybe he's like a notorious drunk or some shit. I don't know, but he's a fire actor.
I'll give some light to that on my take, but go ahead. Oh wait, nah, finish up, son.
Okay. Also, they said that Tom Hardy and Shia LaBeouf actually got into a physical altercation on set. I'm sure Tom Hardy. Well, I don't know Shia LaBeouf like that, so apparently they got
fighting cops and shit in real life, bro.
They got into a physical altercation. It probably got a lot to do with this damn moonshine and shit that niggas is drinking. So I don't know. Also, the original cast that was supposed to be in this movie were James Franco, Ryan Gosling, Scarlett Johansson, Michael Shannon, who I've heard of. I don't really know Michael Shannon.
Holy shit.
And Shia LaBeouf.
Downgrade this movie horribly.
Shia LaBeouf was gonna be on it. That downgrade is crazy, KTL.
I'm not even hating, but like listening to all the those were all people you wanted, and you couldn't get a single one of them. You got Shia LaBeouf.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to see James Franco in this movie, bro.
I don't think I do either, but I'm saying like through your intent, your original intent, you had all these like parts written and these people in mind, and you couldn't get none of them, bro. What was they all doing?
That's what I say. I don't know if it's a thing to where they couldn't get it or they just decided to recast certain role. I don't know.
I'm happy Tom Hardy got the role. I think that he played,
Scarlett Johansson might have been pretty nice in this.
Oh my god!
Shout out Scarlett.
You see a full front naked Scarlett Johansson walking, boy. Oh my god!
KTL would have gave this movie a 10 if he would have saw that.
I might have. I'm not joking. Like I might have had to. Like, my lord.
All right, man. So this is my second time watching this movie. I watched it the first time. I thought it was good, but then I said to myself subconsciously that I'm probably not going to ever watch this again. So coming into this, watching the movie, I knew it was good from my previous experience. I wasn't really looking forward to watching it again because I had the preconceived notion that, it's good, but it's not something I really want to see again. I don't think like the history type movies, where this is like the Prohibition-era type shit. I don't think that's really my forte when it comes to like movies. But when I did watch it again, it kind of gave me a different perspective because I enjoyed it a lot more than I remembered. Like I said, I remembered it being good. I didn't remember how good it was, but when I actually watched it this time, I definitely enjoyed it. I'll say maybe the last half of the movie is really, really fire for me. Throughout the first half, there are fire parts here and there, but it's not necessarily just over the top fire up until like the middle part when they get to like the actual conflict and they have all these different things that happen there, both killing people on each side, and then Cricket dies, and It's just a bunch of shit, a lot of tension being built up. That was fire to me. And so again, I don't know if I would watch it again. Like, with it being fresh in my mind, I would have less of a problem watching it again now that I've seen it again, because on my second watch, it's like, yeah, I really did enjoy this movie. It's just not the type of movie I normally would just pick to watch on my own type shit. So, really good movie. I give it a 8.6 because I think everything was fire for the most part. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of bad to say about it, but I give it an 8.6.
All right. Well, this movie here was definitely entertaining. I thought that there was a little bit of historical intrigue there for me. I like when they kick it back to an older period and shit, and they set those settings up very well. I thought that from the cars they were driving to the layout of the land before it developed cities and shit, how it kind of looked, and everything's out in the woods or out in the bush or whatever else, and like that kind of wild west kind of feel. Like, I kind of like how that was sold in this movie. Good acting job, you know what I'm saying? Pretty decent pace. I mean, the beginning was I did feel like a little bit of a delay, if you will, on the entertainment aspect. I thought they were kind of developing these characters a bit, but once Rake shows up, I think things heat up pretty quickly, and after that I felt like I was pretty engaged in what was going on. I think that things are going fairly well. Scenes had purpose. I like the romance that was developing between characters. That was well done. The last scene for me was again just a sort of, for the sake of the motif of the movie. But I really think that maybe the ending could have been a little bit more methodical to just like tie up everything that happened. But overall, man, it's one of the better ones I've seen, and I mean, I recommend it to somebody who kind of likes the outlaw aesthetic, kind of draw your gun and sort of deal, that kind of stuff. I gave this one here a 7.7. I don't think it was like an extremely amazing movie. I don't think it was like this exceptional movie. I just think that it did what it had to do for its purpose, and that's about where the buck stops for me. So salute the movie.
Yeah, man. This is probably in my top 5 movies, just to be honest. I'm gonna try not to be biased with my score. Yeah, I don't like Slim mentioned earlier who was supposed to be in this movie. I don't think it would have did. I don't think those people would have did these parts justice, and maybe it's because I'm looking at the finished product, so I'm not really able to look at it objectively. But at the same time, I enjoyed this movie. The first time I saw this movie was when it came out, and I was very much intrigued by it. This movie is what made me so, I'm very quick to watch like the historic type of movies, like based off of an old story, or even if it's not true, I'll more than likely watch something of this time frame. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed it a lot. The first time I probably watched this movie 3 times a year, to be honest with you. I enjoy it every time, and I always find something new that I didn't see before. In which this time that I watched it, there was actually a part when Floyd Banner pulls up with his guys and whatnot, about to air that bitch out. When they stop the car, it makes like a sound, and I'm like, they're on dirt. Why is it making that sound? And then when they stopped the car abruptly later on, when the sheriff and them pulled up for the second time, they didn't do that sound. So I was like, okay, maybe there was a little fuck up in post editing, whatever. But that being as small as it is, that is the only thing that I have a problem with this movie. This movie is just a great movie. And to speak on what Slim was saying earlier about the things that went on a set, this was during a time where Shia LaBeouf was going through a whole lot of shit. He was a heavy alcoholic, just not really happy with himself and whatnot. I actually just watched the interview between John Bernthal, shout out John Bernthal, Punisher, and Shia LaBeouf. And this came out like 8 months ago, but I just watched it for the first time. And he was talking about just how he was like I feel like he's probably going through like a spiritual awakening, so it seems. So to see this, and then he has a movie that just came out last year that I'm probably gonna watch because, like I said, it's Shia LaBeouf, and I'm gonna watch it. But besides all of that, I really fuck with this movie. Like I said, this is probably in my top 5, probably right behind Fury, which is another movie with Shia LaBeouf in it. If I were to rate this, I would definitely suggest this to anybody. If we doing this shit long enough, I'll suggest it again just for the fuck of it. But like I said, I'm gonna try not to be biased. I'm gonna give it a 9.
All right, man. I will say about a month ago, a little over a month ago, I began watching this movie again. I had already seen at least 2-3 times. And due to circumstances, I didn't I made about 40 minutes to halfway into the movie, and I cut it off. So, here I went and I watched through the whole thing again. I do think this is something that perhaps is not as crazy as the first time I watched it, which is just how things go, normally. The law of diminishing returns. But I think this is a very well-told story. I think it's got good acting. As somebody said, I can't think of a single performance that I thought was just bad acting. I think it's a well-told story. It's really a period piece above all else. And I think that's one of the most important things. Is I think it's a great depiction of what the countryside and, that area would look like during the Prohibition and whatnot. And the fact that it's adapted from a book, and a true story, I think that really does a lot for me. I think that's pretty interesting. So I think they did a great job. I think there was a couple things that I've already addressed that kind of, were a bit difficult in terms of suspending my disbelief. But altogether, I'm probably gonna give the movie like an 8. I think it was a good movie. I'd recommend other people watch it. I have recommended other people to watch this movie before. I would watch it again, of course. Shout out to Tom Hardy, shout out to Shia LaBeouf, shout out to Guy Pearce, man. They made an art piece, for generations to come.
All right, man. And like I mentioned earlier, off the podcast, man, we finally covered my favorite top 4 white actors. Tom Hardy is the 4th. We also got Mark Wahlberg. We got Ryan Reynolds. We got Leonardo DiCaprio. So Tom Hardy and Lawless final score is a 8.2.
Fire.
Yeah, Bruce.
I think that's appropriate, honestly.
All right. So with that being said, next week's movie will be chosen by Bob Celeste. So Bob, take it away.
All right. Well, I really just gotta say it as I'm saying, it's been a pleasure to watch a number of different movies. And one thing that I like about movies, I think, is the ones that give you something to think about and also have you thinking while you watch them. I gave you guys Shutter Island, gave you guys The Manchurian Candidate, and I'm gonna be continuing with my theme.
Don't forget The Drunken Master, bro. I was thinking.
Well, that one was a day off. We wasn't really thinking too much, just having a good time watching that one there. But
he took a day off.
He took a day off there.
No,
But
I was thinking, Slim.
back to the mill, 9 to 5. So what we got this time around? It's gonna be the first time on this podcast that we got this particular actor. I think. So next week's movie, 2001. Russell Crowe.
Oh boy,
A Beautiful Mind.
Oh wow. Okay. So I actually seen this a long time ago. I don't remember any of it, but I know the premise. I saw it in school, but I just don't remember none of it. I know of the premise of it, but hey, should be interesting. All right, man. We'll be We'll be what? We'll be back.
Hey, Slim, put a
BBD. Yep.
put a picture of the movie up there, man.
I don't have one. He didn't give me
Oh,
one.
you just gonna put Howard the Duck?
My
then.
bad.
He didn't give me a picture. How am I gonna get a picture? Okay, dude.
All right, man. Just put Howard up there, and we're gonna get out of here.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, man. That being said, we'll be back next week with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, and we are out.